My name is Michael Norton, and this is my story of grace. So a couple years ago, I stood on stage at the House of Blues, and that was, at that time, the culmination of a 5-year process where I had turned away from, ultimately left the church, proclaimed that I wasn't a Christian, and then slowly turned back and found my way back at church. And what got me to that stage at House of Blues, to City Church that Sunday, were two things. One was that I still had lots of questions about our faith and some of the reasons why I walked away from the church. I didn't have answers, but I expanded my capacity for mystery. And so I was more comfortable being at church, even though I had those questions. And the second thing was that I found, in our community, a place where I could be open and honest about my doubts, but do it among a group of people who believed in the resurrected Jesus Christ. Now, that was a 5-year process, but honestly, what I've learned in the last couple years about my doubts has probably been more important. What I have found out, as I've looked back on those 5 years, was that I was using my skepticism and my doubts and my ability to question and think to serve my pride, right? To make me think that I was really, really smart. And what began as like an honest and open inquiry into some of the questions that we have about wedding our understanding of the natural world with our understanding of Scripture pretty quickly devolved into me just kind of chipping away at the faith. The second thing was that I was using doubts as a comfort blanket, right? So as a skeptic, if there was any important question, hot button, cultural issue, thing to discuss, I could always just stand on the sideline and say, I'm a skeptic. I actually don't know the answer to that question. So the irony, of course, is when I was treating doubt as if it were a comfort blanket, when in reality, the doubt was creating a lot of darkness in me. And the third thing is that I was using my skepticism, my doubts, as a reason to be resentful towards God's people. So I began engaging in the practices of the Christian faith. I started showing up to church, going to Bible study, reading Scripture, meditating, praying, journaling, all these things that I wanted to do, right? Because these were the practices of the Christian faith. And what I found in doing those is I found that life that I had lost when I was away from the church was starting to come back to me. But where I am now, the spiritual side, right, still lags some of those practices. And so part of my work now and where I am at this point is engaging in those practices and choosing to engage in them while I wait for the spiritual side, if you will, to follow. Talk to your friends, both your Christian friends and your non-Christian friends, about the faith that you're struggling with, but also the faith that you do have. We could pretty well make the claim that there was a man named Jesus, that he was crucified, and that he was raised from the dead. Right? That is a historical claim that we can back. And so if that's true, right, then this really isn't a question of do I believe or do I doubt? It's more of a question of, do I trust Jesus? And so when I think about kind of where I am and where I'm going, that's the question that I'm asking myself, and that's the place I want to be.